Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Did you know I have a Patreon? You can go over there and support the channel. Now onto the stories. Case file number 906, written by Cabbage and Brains. How could a language be downloaded into my brain? Hello, I'm a cop situated in a southern city. While it technically was not mandatory to do so, only one member of a team had to have competency in Spanish. It was encouraged to learn a second language. I've tried to pick up bits and pieces of the grammar, inflection, and word meanings. Many are similar to English, so it's not that out of place to have a vague idea of what someone is saying, even if I could not keep a conversation flowing. Here's the glitch. I was out on patrol with my partner, Robert, but of course we called him Bobby, when we spotted two men, early 30s, polo shirt and jeans, average height, evidently harassing another man, 50s at least, Caucasian, in front of a pawn shop. Flashed our lights briefly, then exited the vehicle on caution. Breaking up the disturbance, separated the men and asked them questions to know what the commotion was over. The older man said that everything was fine, when it clearly wasn't. Most people in the city know not to snitch, never surprised by this. The other two gentlemen were suddenly acting very calm and civil. Neither of them spoke English, or at least neither of them chose to. My partner was the fluent one in Spanish, so he was leading the conversation, with me trying to follow along. And then, it's as if a switch was flipped in my noggin. I suddenly understood every single word spoken, every intonation of their voice indicating a contrary meaning to a word. Something you'd only appreciate if you dedicated a lot of time to local culture and dialect. I'm standing there feeling entirely normal physically, but mentally ill. I understand everything. But I can't. My mastery of Spanish is at a 3rd grade level. There's no conceivable way that this is happening. A human brain doesn't all of a sudden gain this kind of insight, especially in words I know I'd never heard before, but now fully understood. For instance, I'd never heard the word noche before, which just means night. Yet when spoken, I knew what it meant. And on that deep subconscious level where you're not even thinking about understanding it, you just do. Same for the grammar. Turns out the two gentlemen had wanted more money for their jewelry than the pawn shop owner would pay. They had come here the night prior. They were irate, although according to the older man and the security cameras in his shop, it never became physical. We told them to break it off, and that was that. After this, I did try to speak to Bobby about this incident, but I couldn't articulate what I meant without sounding like I should be committed to the psych ward. I still have perfect mastery of Spanish now, so maybe I should be. Case notes for file 906. How could an entire language be downloaded into my brain? No, you're not crazy. You definitely don't belong in the psych ward. If anything, your mind just went to another higher level. So that's not psych ward relevant. Could this be quantum immortality? I know it seems like it's the obvious answer for so many glitches, but to me it is. Your soul just transposed into a new version of yourself, and in that universe, the souls merge, and of course you inhabit the mind as well, and in that universe you had already learned Spanish. Seems to fit perfectly well to me. Now, if it isn't quantum immortality, then for some reason the program of that language was downloaded into your mind. And of course, you could compare that to the Matrix movies where Neo is loading in various programs to learn things, could be any kind of thing, how to drive a Humvee or whatever, stick shift, or of course, I know Kung Fu. That's always a very cool concept, to just have information and understanding downloaded and processed and installed into your mind. I kind of hope it's that instead of just quantum immortality, which is, quantum immortality at this point is like, so mundane, been there, done that, perhaps literally. Case file number 907, written by mindfulsoup. The surgical procedure out of this world. A few years ago, I received rough news. I needed to have a surgical operation done to remove a tumor located near my stomach. The doctors and nurses involved were very kind and polite, and most importantly, very reassuring, telling me this type of surgery is routine these days. While I still felt extraordinarily afraid, I knew there was no choice. The tumor had not metastasized yet, so if removed, there were great odds that it'd be cancer-free for a long time. I agreed to the procedure, and eventually the day and time came to be put under. God bless anesthesiologists. I went under in a few seconds, the weirdest feeling, as if being submerged into warm water. But this wasn't an ordinary surgery for me. I woke up what I can only imagine was hours into the surgery, above my body. I was floating, witnessing the surgery being performed on myself. I couldn't move, just watch. I felt no pain nor fear. It's a difficult feeling to describe. It's not bliss. I felt entirely neutral, numb maybe. Time didn't seem to matter. The whole play happened at the same time, it seemed, and before I knew it had begun, I was waking up in my real body. It's unclear to me if my mind had imagined this or if I really did have an out-of-body experience. According to the surgical team, it went perfectly smoothly, never having any emergency issues to deal with. I always thought if out-of-body experiences happen, that they'd be when a person is at death's door. Maybe not. Maybe it's related to the person's state of mind? Case notes for file 907. The surgical procedure out of this world. If we can astrally project, that is, our soul disconnecting from the body, navigating elsewhere in the world, I don't see why that wouldn't happen when we're near death, or just maybe it is related to the state of mind as you suggest. The out-of-body experience is just a form of astral projection. I guess more easily done when you are near death, but it seems like your mind just wanted to witness what was going on, or rather your soul did. When you're playing a video game and you can disconnect from that character and just look around the world like in cinematic mode or photo mode, it's similar to that. Your soul is breaking off from your body that it inhabits and animates, and it just wants to wander around and look around. Curious how you describe time sort of like together in one ball, and it just happened and then it was over instantly. Plays into the buffered reality I think we probably inhabit. Bonus file, written by Throwaway 23311. That overwhelming darkness. My parents had recently sold their home and bought a property in the country, and I had just turned 28. I chose to convert a large shed on the property, which was close to the house, into my home. Although I occasionally felt uneasy in the shed, my dog kept me company, so it wasn't too horrible. Anyway, after a couple weeks there, I was sitting at the computer one night with my dog resting at my feet when I realized I had to pee. I got up and went outside to relieve myself. I was admiring the sky in the clear, starry night when I heard the shed door bang behind me. I quickly turned and attempted to open it, but it was immovable. My dog is now growling louder and louder inside the shed, and I can hear him barking as I desperately try to open the door. I should mention that I'm 6'7" tall. Yep, a giant, athletic, and well-built. However, despite my efforts, the door will not open. I'm now in a panic as my dog's barks have changed into whines, whimpers, and stillness. Finally, with all of my strength, I slam the door open. Now that the light inside has been turned off, the room is completely dark, and I can't get it to come back on. I can't see my dog anywhere, so I fumble around looking for a torch. When I do, I pick it up and switch it on, but I wasn't expecting what I saw next. My dog's eyes are closed and has physically squished itself into the farthest, darkest corner of the room. I walked over to him, and right away, when I was close enough to touch him, he leapt into my arms and wouldn't let go. I ran as quickly as I possibly could after picking him up. My dog would not even go near that area of the property, and I never set foot in that shed ever again. Case notes for the bonus file, That Overwhelming Darkness. Yeah, this is about as classic as you can get towards a malevolent force or a demonic force. The critical point here is that your dog reacted in such a terrified way. Dogs and cats, and maybe other pets too, they have a keen sense of what's going on, including in the spiritual realm. I don't know if they're able to actually see it, or is more of a instinctual gut reaction. When something really negative is around, they know. And this applies to humans too. Some people when they're around pets, the pets just don't like them, and you probably should take that to heart. They're probably not the best people. I've never met a person who always was hated by pets who was actually a really good person. Maybe it's possible, but it's never happened to me. And pets always seem to like me, so there you go. But yeah, I hope nothing like this ever happens to me when I eventually go off-grid in a cabin in New Hampshire. Stay away, demons. And definitely have to ward off against Wendigos too. The end of the video, and the last video for 2022. I think I have to get rid of the Christmas hat after this, so we're back to just caps and beanies. Anywho, like the video, subscribe if you like it and want more, and see ya next week into 2023.